what is the CAGED system? Is it useful? How does it work? Why should you care? Answers coming up. Hello, my name is David. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping you develop your musical personality on the instrument to better express yourself and tell your personal story, because sometimes words are not enough. So what is the CAGED system? The CAGED system is a system that aims to organize the fretboard. Now, why should you care? You might be already an accomplished player. You might be able to play fast. Maybe you know your 3-note per string system, pentatonic, and you can improvise and jam, and that's awesome. Why should you care? We're going to start with that. You should care because the CAGED system frees your mind to focus on musicality. I know that caged, well, it kind of sounds like you're in a cage. It's not that at all. The CAGED frees yourself. You'll see in a second why CAGED is spelled C-A-G-E-D, but really it has nothing to do with being trapped in a box. On the contrary, the CAGED system allows you to play over really complex chord progressions sometimes and sound very musical, very targeted without having to worry about memorizing a bunch of different scales. It's one of the uses of the CAGED system. One of the primary uses for me is when I have a gig, which rarely happens, but if I have a gig and I don't have time to practice, I just look at the charts, and the CAGED system allows me to improvise by just looking at the charts without having to overanalyze anything. I just look at the chords and then instant improvisation. It also allows you to sound a little bit more refined, in particular over styles of music that are fairly easy to play over. I'm thinking of the blues, for example. Use your minor pentatonic scale and you're good to go, while the CAGED system is going to allow you to target notes that are a little bit outside of that pentatonic scale and instantly sound a little bit more professional, a little bit more focused and targeted. And then finally, one of the main uses of the CAGED system is to do the kind of thing that I was doing on the intro here of this video, where I kind of freeform a piece. It wasn't prepared, and it kind of sounds musical. It sounds like it was meant to be, because I'm really matching scales and chords without, again, having to prepare anything. That's the beauty of the CAGED system. Well, let's take a look at how it works. So I'm talking about these chords: C, A, G, E, and D. Now, don't get confused. The CAGED system does not mean that everything you play has to be in C, A, G, E, or D. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the visual characteristics of these chords. See, these 5 chords, C, A, G, E, D, have very unique characteristics that are going to help you make sense of the fretboard. Let's jump on the computer. I'm going to show you something. Here are these 5 chords, and I highlighted the roots of each of the chords with the red color. Each of these 5 chords have different and unique characteristics. What I mean by characteristics is, where is the root, which string is the root on, and how is the chord built in relation to that root. Let's take a look at the first chord. The first chord, C, has a root on the 5th string. It also has a root on the 2nd string, but we're going to look at the lowest root we encounter. So we have a root on the 5th string, and the chord happens on the left side of that root. That is the characteristic of that C chord. Root on string number 5 happens on the left side of the root. The next chord, A, has a root on the 5th string, but this time the chord is built on the right side of that root. Next chord is G. The root is on the 6th string. The chord is built on the left side of that root. Then we have E. The root is also on the 6th string and happens on the right side of that root. And finally, the D chord has a root on the 4th string and happens on the right side of that root. Now you might ask, what about the chord that has a root on the 4th string and happens on the left side of that root? Well, we have that with the E chord. See how that E also has a root on the 4th string, happens on the left side? So that's why. Now that's 5 unique and distinct characteristics. Now here's the magic of the CAGED system. The beauty of the CAGED system is that these 5 different and unique characteristics can be found in anything you play. A lick, a chord, a scale, a riff, anything can be classified with one of these 5 different characteristics. The name of these 5 characteristics are C, A, G, E, D. That's where it gets a little confusing because some people think that it's actually the chord, the C chord, or the C key, or the C scale. No, nothing to do with that. It's the characteristic of the C chord, the A chord, the G chord, the E chord, and the D chord. Let's recap really quick. The characteristics for C is root on the 5th string, everything on the left side. Characteristics for A, root on the 5th string, everything on the right side. Characteristics for G, root on the low E string, everything on the left side. Characteristics for E, root on the low E string, everything on the right side. Characteristics for D, root on the 4th string, everything on the right side. Well, let's give that a try. Let's say that we're playing in A minor pentatonic. Let's take a look at the first position. The first position of A minor pentatonic between frets 5 and 8, this one right here. If we look at the root, the visual reference point, that's on the low E string, 5th fret. It happens on the right side. Therefore, that's going to match the E characteristics. Why? Because within the CAGED system, E has the root on the low E string, happens on the right side. So I could say that the first position of A minor pentatonic fits the E position of the CAGED system. Even though I'm playing A minor pentatonic, I'm just borrowing the characteristics of that E open chord and tie it to the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, why does this matter? Why should you care? Well, for one, it avoids the jumpy effect. We talked about the jumpy effect on this channel. The jumpy effect is basically you playing in an area of the fretboard and then comes a new key or a new scale or a new chord that you need to play over. And you're jumping around to find the next scale. So let's say that we are playing A minor pentatonic, and at some point you want to play an E minor pentatonic. Up, you jump to the first position of E, and that's a big jump. That can sound cool, but it's not as musical as you want it to be. In order to sound musical, you need to have musical thoughts that are kind of contained in the same area of the fretboard. You don't want to have big jumps. You want a continuity in the musical thought process. The CAGED system will help you with that. Let's say that you're playing in a blues in A. Okay, we've got 3 chords. We got A7, D7, and E7. See how these chords are on the same area of the fretboard? I'm not jumping around A7, D7, E7. I could, but typically I'm going to do that. And when I improvise, I could use the CAGED system. For the A chord, I'm going to play in that area of the fretboard. I'm going to find a scale that matches the characteristics of the chord shape that I'm playing. In this case, I'm playing A7. Root on the low E string happens on the right side. Therefore, my scale is going to show the same exact characteristics, which is borrowed from the E of the CAGED system. So I could start improvising E major pentatonic, for example. And then the D, I'm going to match that D chord with the characteristics of the scale that I want. So for this, root on the 5th string happens on the right side to keep things contained. That's the A characteristics. And then back to the A. And then the E. And so forth. A lot more musical than jumping around. This is something to be explored. I know I kind of went quick, but the system itself is simple. It just has to do with where is the root and where am I building that musical element according to that root, left or right. And you will see that whatever you play, you can always match that thing that you're playing with one of the C, A, G, E, D positions all the time. And that's the beauty of the CAGED system. It just helps you organize your thoughts. It helps you approach new musical scenarios without having to overthink things. Now, you might think that this is a little far-stretched, because if you watch this video till the end, well, it's kind of mathematical, kind of brainy, but when you're actually playing and approaching a musical piece, you're not thinking that way. I'm using all these words because I'm teaching this. Here, I'm not gonna, I could, but this is not the right channel for this. I'm not just gonna show you a lick and there you go. I want you to understand the concept. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it cleared up maybe some of the confusion that you might have with the CAGED system. You can download the charts for this lesson for free. The link is below. That'll help you visualize those things with more charts, and I made sure to indicate which of the CAGED positions they're in. And if you want to go a little bit further with this kind of thing, check out that video on the top right. I think it's going to help you. And is it right or left? I don't know. No, it's top left. That one right here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Practice well.